Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to focus on how would a Freudian analyst treat depression. All right. So a Freudian therapist, or more broadly a psychodynamic therapist, would approach depression by looking deeply into the unconscious mind and past experiences, particularly those from early childhood. The core belief is that current emotional suffering, like depression, stems from unresolved internal conflicts, repressed emotions, and unacknowledged patterns of relating that originated in earlier developmental stages. Here's how a Freudian therapist might treat depression. 1. Uncovering unconscious conflicts. Repressed emotions. Freud believed that depression could arise from repressed anger or aggression, often directed inward. If a person felt intense anger or hostility towards a loved one, especially a parent, but felt unable to express it due to fear of loss or punishment, that energy could be turned against the self, manifesting as depression. Early childhood experiences. A Freudian therapist would explore the patient's early relationships with caregivers, looking for experiences of loss, neglect, abandonment, or trauma. These early experiences shape an individual's personality, defense mechanisms, and patterns of relating to others and themselves. Loss and mourning. Freud's theory of melancholia, his term for depression, often connected it to a pathological form of mourning. Instead of healthy grieving and eventual detachment from a lost object, person, ideal, the individual internalizes the lost object, and the aggressive feelings, once directed outward, are now directed inward, leading to self-reproach and guilt. 2. Key techniques and concepts in therapy. Free association. The patient is encouraged to say whatever comes to mind without censorship or judgment. The idea is that this uncensored flow of thoughts, memories, and feelings will eventually reveal unconscious connections, repressed material, and underlying conflicts. The therapist listens for patterns, slips of the tongue, and recurring themes. Dream analysis. Dreams are seen as the royal road to the unconscious. The therapist would help the patient explore the manifest content, what they remember from the dream, to uncover the latent content, the hidden symbolic meaning, and the unconscious wishes, fears, or conflicts being expressed. Transference analysis. Transference is a crucial element. This is when the patient unconsciously redirects feelings and desires from important figures in their past, for example, parents, onto the therapist. The therapist observes these patterns and helps the patient understand how these past relational dynamics are playing out in the present, both in the therapeutic relationship and in other relationships. Understanding transference can provide significant insight into the patient's internal world and relational patterns contributing to their depression. Interpretation. The therapist offers interpretations of the patient's thoughts, feelings, and dreams and behaviors, linking them to unconscious conflict and past experiences. These interpretations are designed to bring unconscious material into conscious awareness, leading to insight and psychological change. Analysis of resistance. Patients often unconsciously resist therapeutic progress because confronting painful truths or changing deeply ingrained patterns can be threatening. The therapist would identify and interpret these resistances, changing the subject, missing appointments, intellectualizing, to help the patient understand what they are avoiding. Defense mechanisms. The therapist would help the patient identify and understand their defense mechanisms: repression, denial, projection, introjection. In depression, introjection, internalizing the negative aspects of another person or a lost object, is particularly relevant. The goal is to help the patient develop healthier, more adaptive ways of coping with anxiety and conflict. The therapeutic relationship. While the therapist maintains a relatively neutral stance, the relationship itself is central to the healing process. It provides a safe and consistent space for the patient to explore their inner world. The therapist helps the patient process difficult emotions and develop a more integrated sense of self. Goals of Freudian therapy for depression. Insight. The primary goal is to help the patient gain insight into the unconscious roots of their depression. Working through. This involves repeatedly confronting and processing the uncovered material, allowing the patient to integrate new understandings and develop healthier ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving. System reduction as a byproduct. While not directly symptom-focused like cognitive behavioral therapy, the belief is that as unconscious conflicts are resolved and insight is gained, the depressive symptoms will naturally diminish. And strengthening the ego, helping the patient develop strong ego functions, for example, reality testing, impulse control, tolerance for frustration, to cope more effectively with life's changes. In essence, a Freudian therapist would treat depression not as an isolated symptom, but as a complex manifestation of deeper, often unconscious psychological processes, with the aim of fostering profound self-understanding and lasting personality change. So what are your thoughts? What do you think about using Freudian analysis to treat depression? Leave your comments, leave your thoughts in the comments, and I'll speak to you next time.